Okay. I want to talk about Kino escalation. And I'm going to teach some general principles about how to do it properly. And I'm also going to teach some specific techniques and movements that you've probably seen me do in demonstration over the course of the weekend in the bars. So I have Casey here as my model. Okay, so the first kind of basic movement that I want you to be comfortable with is how Mystery does his little figure 8 pattern. Really slow. Okay? This serves several purposes. First of all, it makes him look like he's in his own world. He kind of comes off like he's got his own thing going on, and he can get distracted into himself. It doesn't mean that he's necessarily disinteresting you or rejecting you. It just means he got distracted for a second. And because of that, it doesn't come off like he's trying to punish. So if you come off like you're trying to punish somebody, then what you're going to do is convey that it matters to you. Does that make sense? So like, if she says something or gives me some kind of defiance or gives me some kind of IOD, indicator of disinterest, and then I turn as if I'm trying to punish her, then it shows that I'm reacting too much to her, as if it matters to me. Whereas if I'm kind of swaying and getting distracted already, then because of that, it's not necessarily that I'm reacting to her specifically, right? It's not that I'm trying to punish her or trying to get back at her. It's just that I got distracted. Because low-value people punish. High-value people don't have time. They don't care. They're not out to punish someone. Instead, they just get distracted because they have so many other options. And acting that way conveys that you're a high-value person. Like higher-value people tend to act that way, and people respond. There are certain low-value behaviors that are obviously low-value, such as leaning in, trying too hard, being needy, being clingy, hovering, awkward pauses, whatever. There are certain behaviors that lower your value and certain behaviors that raise your value. So Mystery does this sway. And the other thing that it does is it lets him lean in, and it doesn't look like this big movement. And I told some of you this already over the course of the weekend. If I want to open somebody and I'm standing still, and then I lean and open them, it comes off like this big thing, this big move. But if I'm already kind of like this, then it's a natural part of my movement. And so it comes off natural. The general rule of thumb is that if it feels natural to you, then it's going to feel natural to the other person as well. The other thing that this figure 8 pattern allows him to do is it allows him to turn his body language towards someone or away from someone in a very casual way that they almost don't notice that he did it. It doesn't come off like, boom. They feel that emotional pulse. They feel it stronger. He's more subtle and nuanced in his movements. So Mystery's the sort of person where if he wants to convey a little disinterest, not really punish, but convey an IOD for social calibration reasons, then instead of just doing what a beginner pickup artist would do, which is sort of maybe just turn your back, do a back turn, which is very harsh and a little obvious that you're trying to do something. Whereas Mystery will be more subtle, and what he might do is lean back just a little bit and open his mouth a little bit. It looks like this. I'll do it again. Watch. Like I'm just judging a little bit. I'm not trying to make her feel bad, because why would I care that much? Okay, the next movement that I want you to become familiar with is touching the shoulder with the back of the hand. So as I'm talking to someone, I'll do that on either side, and it's better to look away when you do it. So if I'm going to touch her like this and look her in the eyes, it's a lot more creepy than if I turn away to touch her, right? If I turn away and do that, that's probably the first move that you guys should actually practice. Look at it like there's maybe 20 or 30 or 50 of these things, where you just do one little thing, and you just do it over and over again. You might kind of go like this. Look away and touch on the outside with the outside, so our bodies aren't crossing in any way. It's the least intimate touch I can come up with. I'm not looking at her. I'm not facing her. My body's not facing her body. Her body's not facing my body. I'm reaching out and touching her shoulder, which is probably the least intimate place you can touch somebody, with the back of my hand. Okay? Now, the importance here is not to have some form of compliance. The piece here that you want to keep in mind is most important is the fact that it looks natural and feels comfortable. It should be natural and comfortable. The next move will be to touch the shoulder with the front of the hand. Don't touch for a long time. So, for example, if you go up to a horse and put your hand on the horse, as you leave your hand there, the horse will start to get more and more and more agitated emotionally, because it starts to come off like more and more like you want something, more and more like you want something, which starts to make people feel creeped out. So if you leave your hand on someone, it's a lot worse at first, especially, you got to calibrate it first. If you just touch and clap and let your hand go. And the way that I recommend that you do it is look away when you do it. Be in the middle of conversation, we're talking about something, I'm sort of looking distracted and swaying a little bit. She says something, and I say, oh, you know what? And then I turn back. Okay? Notice how I looked away, oh, you know what? Clap on the shoulder, and then turn back and slide off. Turn away, clap on the shoulder, turn back, and slide off. Okay? Okay? As if I didn't really notice that I did it. Okay? And remember, the rule of thumb is if you feel it, then so will she. So if you really feel it like it's this big deal and you're focused on it and you feel tension about it, then so will she. But if you feel like it's casual and comfortable, then so will she. And how do you want her to feel? If she's interacting with you physically, do you want her to feel that it's casual and comfortable and normal between the two of you? Or do you want her to feel like it's weird and awkward and creepy or try hard or whatever? Okay, then another thing I'll do is I'll grab the shoulders with both hands and just reposition her. Not because I want to position her in any specific place necessarily, but just because it gives me an excuse to act like I have some reason to do it. And then I release. Okay? And this is another principle that I want to put out there, is that you should be the one who creates the tension physically, and you should also be the one who pushes it away. I'll say that again. You need to be the one who creates the tension physically, who does the escalation, performs the escalation. And you need to be the one to push it away. What a lot of guys do is they try and get physical compliance like they're trying to get yards on a football field. It's goal-oriented. Well, I have to get the set open to get the number, I have to get the number to get the date, I have to get the date to get the girlfriend or whatever, as if it's this goal-oriented process. But the problem is if it comes off like you're trying to get more, then people's defenses start raising up. They start feeling, it'll make you come off needy. It'll make you come off as if it's too important to you, which it shouldn't be if you've got it all over the place. Anyway. So when I turn her physically, what I want is I just want her to become comfortable with following my lead. I want her to become comfortable that I can go like this, and it's comfortable, and it's no big deal, and I'm not trying to get something. I don't have an agenda. I'm not the agenda guy. Okay? And so I'll throw it just in the context of whatever I'm saying at the time. Let's say I'm going to do a little mini cold read thing and say, you know what, you look like you're from the East Coast. You're from the East Coast, right? Okay, so instead of just saying that like this, you know what, you look like you're from the East Coast. Again, I'm sort of loosely interacting. And I say, you know what, you look like you're from the East Coast. See that? See how I do it as if it's part of what I'm saying? She doesn't know what's coming next. And before she does, within a second, I've released anyway. Does it look like I'm trying to get something? Does it look like I'm the agenda guy? Instead, it comes off like we just have this comfortable physical rapport between the two of us. I want her to feel that way. Let me see your hand. Okay, so that's a compliance test. Let me see your hand. What?
Like that.
Give me your fucking hand. Okay, see what I'm doing here with the compliance test? Is I'm just testing for what vibe I'm getting off of her, whether it indicates more or less interest, whether it indicates higher or lower value, and whether she's compliance testing me. There's only 5 basic social communications. She's indicating higher or lower value, so that's her lamp is like glowing brighter or dimmer. Okay? And her ghost outline, like when things come and affect her, if she's more of a ghost, then things pass right through. Right? I think that's your value. It's a combination of those two things. That's the yin and the yang that I talked about yesterday. It's a combination of like this lamp that glows brighter or dimmer socially, and that can also glow the other way and like stink or whatever, lower value. And it's also this ability to not be affected by things. So when things come in, you know, they sort of pass through and don't touch you really. Whereas if you become more and more solid, then things hit you harder and harder. All right, so where was I? See, as long as I do this in context. Oh yeah, compliance testing. So anytime that I'm interacting with someone, that's how I sense it. I sense it as if they're glowing warmer or dimmer, and as if they're more or less affected by what I'm doing, and as if they're testing me, and I'm constantly testing them. Okay, so I should be compliance testing her, and I should also be aware of the fact that people are constantly compliance testing me. Right? If someone feels lower value than me, I'm going to feel like they're kind of needy or creepy or weird. If they feel higher value than me, then I'm going to feel attracted to them. I'm going to want to turn towards them. I'm going to feel more reactive to them. And I'm also going to tell that when people are compliance testing me from a point of higher value, that they tend to get easier compliance. My emotions pull me to comply with them more, and I have to push myself back more. Whereas if the person's really low value, I don't feel compelled to comply. You know, I would actually have to push myself to comply with that person, like I'm swimming against the current the other way now. So when I do a compliance test, this conveys the value differential. When I say, let me see your hands, and she does it, okay, people tend to comply with higher value. So if she complies, then I get a ping back that she perceives me as higher value. I get an emotional ping. So think of this in terms of as if people are sending pings and pongs to each other. I feel something emotionally, and that causes me to react a certain way, and that sends a pulse back out. And then other people around feel that emotionally, and that causes them to have whatever emotional reaction based on their perceptions and so on, and then they pulse out. And people are constantly pinging each other emotionally with the vibe around them. So whenever I'm conveying disinterest, that's the ping that I'm sending to her, is this feeling of disinterest. Whenever I'm conveying interest, I'm coming off maybe a little more try-hard or whatever, or maybe I'm conveying interest at the right time when she's complied, and I want to reward that behavior. So I show interest as a reward instead of something that I give away for free, which only cheapens its value. So the next move is the hand. Let me see your hand. Okay. What a lot of guys do is they play into the stereotype, the romantic stereotype, and this is it, is hand holding. Sort of the, we're holding hands, you know, and there's like, as if there's this big moment, this we're holding hands, you know. We're holding hands, you know, as if there's this big moment. But it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Instead, what's going on is, all I'm trying to do, and this is a principle, is I'm just trying to create comfort for my hand to touch her hand. I want me to feel comfortable with that and her to feel comfortable with that. That doesn't mean that I want to set some frame, some try-hard frame that I like you or whatever. I don't have to convey that. I just want to create some sense of physical comfort between our hands. And there's a million things I can do to do that. I can do thumb wrestling. I can say, let me see your hand. You go like this. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare thumb war. Right? This is an old community mainstay. They get competitive and stuff. It's really cool to cheat. Then they start punching your arm. All right, enough. One second. Okay. Where was I? So physical comfort with a hand. What else can I do? I could show her that this is another old mainstay in the community is the handshakes routine, where you show her a couple different handshakes. So you say, all right, do you know the San Diego handshake?
No.
You go like this. Okay, now I want you to do it more loose and comfortable and natural and chilled out. with a better vibe to it, not so stiff. Okay. All right, loosen up. All right. Cool. All right, you know the LA handshake?
No.
Let me see. Go like this, like this, like this, and then like this. Try it again. Okay. Do you know the New York handshake? Go like this. Hey, Tony from Brooklyn. All right, now here's another one. Go like this. Go like this. One more time. And she'll go, what is that? And you go, I don't know, some drunk girl showed me that. Okay? Notice how I'm conveying interest, and then I have to balance it out by conveying a little bit of disinterest in order to create comfort so that she doesn't feel too uncomfortable like I'm trying to get something. But instead, I'm releasing to create more comfort levels, allowing me to come back and escalate again. Okay. What's another one? Here's another mainstay in the community. Is a spin move. Okay? Now, if I say, here, I want to spin you, what I've just done is I've asked the girl for too much compliance, forcing her to reject and give defiance, right? She has to reject my compliance test. If I say, hey, stand up and run in circles around the room 3 times and hop up and down, she's going to say no, because I'm asking for too much. But if I'm, I don't know, Donald Trump talking to a business school graduate and I tell him to do that, he might just do it. He might go run around the room a couple times. So what's going on here is this difference in the value differential. So again, I'm testing for interest. If I'm getting a lot of compliance and good pings back, indicators of interest and indicators of compliance, then I know that I must have a position of value, that I've been conveying value. And I want to reward that behavior. Okay, notice if I ask for just a little bit of compliance, I'll get it. If you ask for the smallest possible little bit of compliance, then people start to look like a big asshole if they don't. Okay, for example, if we're all hanging out at my place and you get up and go in the kitchen to get yourself a glass of water, and I say, oh, hey, bro, can you get me a glass of water too? You say, get your own. You look like a big asshole, and you'll feel like one too, right? Everyone will look at you like, asshole. You know, and inside you'll kind of be like, nah, I feel like a jerk. Sorry, bro, I'll get your water, right? So there's some line there, and it's a gray area that's really dependent on the delivery, that's dependent on the vibe, but somewhere in that dividing line, it goes from, there's too much compliance to ask of me, to, I look like a big asshole if I don't. So I have my gray area in between, where you can get more or less compliance out of someone based on how much they value you. So I'm going to ask her for compliance one step at a time. Instead of saying, I'm going to spin you around, I say, oh, that's interesting. Go like this. Okay, notice I look at my hand first, as if I'm showing her something over here. Oh, that's interesting. Go like this. She holds her hand up. I say, okay, now do a little spin. Very nice. Okay? So what am I doing here? I'm asking for compliance one step at a time. Go like this. See, what's the first piece of compliance? No. First piece is getting her to look at my hand. Oh, that's interesting. That's the first piece. Not much to ask for. Oh, look, that's interesting. She looks, right? Why? This is a principle of misdirection from magic. The eye goes towards movement, and the eye goes where other eyes go. So if I move it, people will look at it. If I look at it, other people will look at it. That's why when you stand on a street corner and look up, and then a bunch of other people will come and start looking up, they're using misdirection. Okay? So I look at it and move it. It's very difficult for her not to look. And I say, oh, that's interesting. Right? And I've been fun. I've been cool. I'm cool. Well, that's interesting. Go like this. Let me see your hand. Okay. Now do a little spin. Very nice. That's what you get for being good. Okay? Notice I did a hand throw at the end. men tend not to, let's put it this way, men tend to underestimate how sensitive women can be to little social cues in the environment. If I say, let me see your hand, maybe I'm doing some palm reading bullshit. Normally what I say is I'll say this. I'll say, oh, let me see your hand. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, 90% of women believe in astrology. 90% of men do not believe in astrology. So this is one of those critical sexual differences that it's hard to wrap your head around if if you're not natively like that, if you're not those 10% of men. But anyway, if you act like, oh, that's interesting, like I just saw something, like, oh, they'll go, what, a lot of girls, what, like that, and I'll be like, see, the whole joke is, it's funny when it's obviously bullshit. So whenever I do any of my humor, I'm obviously being bullshit, it's obviously bullshit, and that's what makes it so funny, right? Because the person realizes, oh, he's fucking with me, ha, 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 whatever. So what I'll do is I'll say, oh, that's interesting, and they start playing, what? And that's when I hit them with the obviously bullshit part. And so that's where I say, you have a retard line. It means you're a retard. Right? Okay. So what I've done is, by taking your hand, I've indicated some interest. Okay, let's break this down into 5 steps of microcalibration. Interest, disinterest, value, lower value, and compliance. By taking your hand, I've gotten compliance. I've also indicated some interest. Fair? Now, I do the little thing where I fuck with her a little bit. It's obviously bullshit, so it's funny, right? And it's not cruel or sarcastic or anything. Actually, maybe it is a little bit. It's playful. And that's a DHV, because people laugh. Okay, when I contribute something to the vibe and it adds fun or laughter to the vibe, good humor, or intrigue, or conveys pre-selection, or healthy emotional programming, or whatever, then I've conveyed value into the vibe, and people feel it, and then they respond to me as if I'm higher value when I start getting more compliance, etc. Okay? So, I got compliance, I indicated interest, made her laugh, that's a demonstration of value. Then I do an indicator of disinterest, which is the hand throw. I'm throwing in some disinterest at the end. Okay? Now, what does disinterest do? Disinterest conveys higher value. Right? I get distracted by all the other options I have if I'm high value. So if I act a bit disinterested, it conveys that. Okay? Disinterest also conveys comfort because she doesn't feel like I'm trying to get something. Because she doesn't feel like I'm trying to get something, then she can let her defenses down and relax around me and feel comfortable with whatever's happening as if she feels safe about it. So I want to throw in some disinterest, not because I'm trying to punish her or reject her or train her like a dog. Well, I am trying to train her like a dog. We'll get into that. Anyway. But really because I'm trying to create comfort for her. I mean, that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm going to create comfort for her so that next time I say, go like this, let me see your hands. Okay, do you know how to salsa dance? No. All right. My left foot goes forward, and you match on the mirror side. There you go. Then back to the middle. Then my right foot goes back. There you go. Back to the middle. Okay. Then throw in your hips. Turn. I'll do that in a bar. What am I doing here? It's just fun. I'm conveying that it's no big deal. I'm comfortable, making her feel comfortable, conveying value. But more than that, I'm conveying pre-selection. Because the eye tends to go towards movement. There'll be people around in the crowd will see me dancing with some cute girl and me being fun. And that's a value communicator, so that pings out. And the people who notice it will look, I'll get more attention, I'll be perceived as having higher value because I have pre-selection, which is one of our basic value switches. Anytime that women see you getting interest from other women, they find it attractive. And it's a core emotional programming observed in all cultures and observed in species of birds and so on. Okay. So some thumb rustling. You can play slaps. You know, another one is you can ride on her back. You write it. You can say, you know, all right, what am I going to write? Watch. What did I write? Bad. Bad, that's right. Do one on me. Anything that you did on the playground as a child works really good. Anything that's fun and incorporates childhood regression. Okay. When I do the hand throw, I don't throw it hard because I don't want it to come off like I'm trying to do something. I don't want it to come off like I'm trying, like I'm reacting, because you react to higher value. If I'm reacting, then I must be lower value, and I'm not trying to convey that. So I'm not trying to make her feel like I'm trying to punish her. Instead, I want to make her feel like I got distracted and I kind of discarded it, but like I didn't notice what I was doing. I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't notice enough. I just got, what, huh? Okay? This is important because it shows that I'm not reacting to her. And it'll give her a little emotional pang inside. Ding! So I send the ping. I'm telling you, they feel hand throws. Emotionally, they feel it more powerfully if it comes off like it's real. If it comes off sincere and legitimate, as if I really did get distracted, and I'm not trying to make her feel bad. You know, I'm just like, oh, what's that? Right? And so I spent time working on making my hand throws subtle. You know, instead of this, if you're really stiff, you kind of throw the hand. Obviously, I'm trying to do something. But if I got distracted, so I'm putting in that sway motion, right? Loose and natural delivery. Same thing in magic. In magic, it's not about pulling off the move technically. It's about making it feel natural, making it look natural. So that's why you practice it over and over and over again, until it's just loose and natural. Okay? I am not a natural. I had to practice in the field quite a bit to make my delivery natural with my body language and so on. So I just did it a lot. Do a lot of sets, like playing tennis. So what are some other moves? Arm in arm. Now notice that at this point, Mystery will say this. He'll say, that's all you get. Notice again that I've indicated interest. So one thing I do is using my body, I turn away and indicate disinterest to balance it out. Boom. So I've indicated interest, so I do some disinterest so it feels more comfortable, doesn't feel like creepy, right? And then I'll even throw in another indicator of disinterest and say, now that's all you get. Now remember, disinterest raises my value. Can't hurt to throw it in there. Also, it makes her feel more comfortable. So again, it's a great thing to throw in. But the rule that I'm trying to convey right now is that indicators of interest should be calibrated with indicators of disinterest to soften them. And similarly, indicators of disinterest should be calibrated up with indicators of interest at the end to calibrate them. Okay? If I show a lot of interest, I calibrate it. Now that's all you get. Okay? Now at this point, I'm feeling. What's the pings? What are the pings that I'm getting from her? I'm going to feel in her hand if she's squeezing a little tighter or a little looser, or if her hand's just kind of like staying so loose that if I let go, it'll fall off. Okay? I'm feeling, if I pull a little, I'm feeling how much compliance I'm getting. If it comes easily, or if there's resistance. If there's resistance, hand throw. Okay? Next time I go for compliance, I'll get less resistance. They feel that hand throw. And the fact that I do it so lightly, like I really got distracted and I didn't notice, makes it come off more genuine, which makes it hit harder emotionally. Boom. Right? Which causes her to try harder and feel more reactive to me, feel lower value to me, and I'll start getting more compliance out of her. Okay? Doesn't mean that she'll necessarily feel bad. She'll feel a ping like, oops, something like that. But it's not really punishing-based game. It's more like a correction. So Mystery made us all watch this dog training video to really drive the point home. And it's really accurate stuff. I mean, obviously men can be trained, mammals can be trained. It's all the same principle. Birds can be trained. And one of the things in the dog training video is that whenever the dog, let's say he's training the dog to walk with him, as he's walking with the dog, whenever it tries to run off course, like a poorly trained dog would do, then he corrects it. He pulls it back to the correct spot. He doesn't punish it. He's not trying to hurt the dog, but he pulls it back to the path where he wants it to be on, the compliance momentum he wants to get from the dog. Okay? So that's the hand throw. It's more of a correction, it's pulling it back to here. It's not like you're beating the dog. Okay? And then he finds something that he can reward it for. Sit, Ubu, sit. Dog sits. Good girl, good girl. Okay? Pulls her back, tells her to sit. She sits, he gets compliance. Reward, good girl, release. More. Okay? So this is what we'll do. If I have some degree of resistance, if I go for compliance from her, or if I'm testing for resistance, and I'm just trying to get a feel for where's the vibe. Is it interest or disinterest? Is it compliance or defiance? Okay? And if I feel like I'm getting resistance, I'll do the correction. She'll feel that. Then I'll come back and do another compliance test. Go like this. And I'll usually ask for something less. And then I'll reward her for that. Oh, cool. Whatever. Some interest. In other words, I'm starting to give interest as a reward instead of giving interest because I'm desperate. Like, a lot of guys open with interest. That's their opener. I'm interested. Who are you? That's their opener. I mean, really. I mean, that's what they convey in the stupid questions they ask. That's what they convey with their needy body language, leaning in and facing the set too early, you know, leaning on their front foot. This kind of thing is so obvious. Whereas me, I want to convey value, which will give me more compliance and more interest, more IOIs. Then I'll do a compliance test. I'll get some compliance. Then I'll reward with interest. And then I release, creating comfort and a little bit more of a challenge. So I come back and get compliance again. And it's a cycle that repeats. We have a saying that sex is at about 65% compliance. There are higher levels of compliance. It's not really the subject of this course, but pimping. So where else are we? Reward. I want to talk about intermittent rewarding for a second. Is anyone here familiar with this concept? Intermittent rewarding is well known in animal training. It's used in psychology. There's a famous old psychology experiment with the series of pigeons where you've got the pigeon in the cage and you have a button, and every time the pigeon pushes the button it gets you know, goodies. I don't know, cocaine, food, whatever. Gets a little pigeon treat. So it pushes the button, food comes out, peck. Pushes the button, food comes out, peck. Pushes the button, food comes out, peck. The bird very quickly learns that when you push the button, food comes out. This is what we call consistent rewarding. I want some water. Whose water is this? Here's a problem. If you turn off the food, it pushes a button, peck, nothing. Pushes the button, peck, nothing. Nothing, nothing. It stops. No more food. It learns. It's consistent rewarding. It learns to stop. But if you reward the pigeon intermittently, then it will become addicted to the behavior. So you push the button, have some chance of getting food, some 25% or whatever, 33%, peck, peck, bloop, peck, 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 bloop, food, peck, 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 bloop, food. You reduce the percentage down to the point where maybe it's only 1% of the time, or 1 out of 1,000 times. You turn it off. Peck, 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 peck. It doesn't learn to stop. It's become addicted to the behavior through intermittent rewarding. Animal trainers teach to use intermittent rewarding. When you're training a dog, you don't reward the dog every time it complies. You reward it intermittently. And you make it uncertain, unpredictable, the pattern in which the rewards will come. Where is an example of this in human behavior? Gambling addiction. When you're in the casino, you're putting the quarters in the slot machine, Ding, 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 you know. Bloop, 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 bloop. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, you're getting money. You're getting survival value. You're getting an emotional reward. You know, you're feeling it. And it's associating it with this sound. Then you're putting money in again. You don't get the reward every time. You can hear other people getting their rewards. People get actually emotionally excited. They start developing anchors to these emotions. And gambling is a real addiction. In the same way, I want to always mix in IOIs and IODs together. I don't just want to go IOI, 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 IOI. Compliance test. Compliance, more interest. Compliance test, which conveys more interest. Compliance, more interest. Just more, 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 more. It's too obvious. It's too try hard. It's no fun either. So always release. Okay? I want to show you another move. We call this the tension test. And this is, again, another old mainstay in the community. Let me see your hand? Both your hands. Okay. Turn this way. Okay. All right, as I'm talking to her, I'm going to reach up and clap her on the shoulder as I'm saying something, just like I taught you. And I'm at some point where maybe I've already done a little bit of this. I've already tested for the Kino pings. I know where I am. I'm getting compliance, do a release. Okay, keep talking. Move her like this. Turn her a little bit. Keep talking, feel the pings. And I know where I am in the set. I know about how much compliance I'm going to get. I tend not to ask ever for compliance if I know I'm not going to get it. I only ask for compliance that I know I'm going to get. I'm not trying to get something. I know I'm going to get it. I'm just locking in the compliance in her mind. More, 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 more. Release, more, release. Okay? If I ask for compliance and I don't get it, I get defiance. I fucked up. I didn't calibrate well enough. And now I kind of look stupid, and I lost some social value. I lost some social currency with her. And I have to demonstrate more value and more disinterest to bring it back up again. Just like a video game. So anyway, I'll be doing the shoulder clap thing. And I'll slide my fingers up. And I act like I just noticed something right here. Like, oh, that's interesting. Remember that shit? Oh, that's interesting. Remember that? Oh, that's interesting. Miss your hands? Okay, there's a spot. All right, look how fast I've escalated. Okay, from a shoulder clap. Are you with me? Watch again. Blah, fucking, blah, blah. Oh, that's interesting. She's like, what? Okay, notice, same thing. Oh, that's interesting. What is it? There's a retard line right there. It says that you're a retard. Okay? Same thing. Oh, that's interesting. Let me see your hands. Okay, right, I've already gotten this much compliance before. I'm comfortable, right? Oh, that's interesting. Let me see your hands. Okay, now there's this spot. I'm going more and more compliance. More and more compliance. Bigger and bigger hoops. She's already played into it now. The momentum is already developed. She looks stupid now. She goes, what are you doing? Right? Anyway, she's not going to get logically interrupted because I'm going to have her in an emotional state because I'm going to be pumping her buying temperature. You know, all the humor stuff, making her giggle, making her laugh. All the stuff that I talked about yesterday with you guys. When I'm pumping her buying temperature, she gets more into an emotional state. Her logic disengages. I'm going to get more compliance, and she's not going to think it through she's not going to think it through logically. She's going to process it emotionally, and it feels good. Okay? So at this point, I'm here. I say, oh, no, there's this spot. Now, again, it's like, you know, I'm looking at her palm. Where's the retard line? It's down here somewhere. There's a retard line over here somewhere, right? And she thinks I'm like, obviously, this is just pretense for me to escalate, physically get this much more intimacy between the two of us so I can release again so she feels comfortable with it. That's all I'm really doing. Just the same as I wanted to make her comfortable with the hands touching or comfortable with the shoulder touch or comfortable with the hip check, you know, comfortable with dancing next to each other. Okay? Much in the same way, I want to get this level of intimacy, but at the same time, push it away. So that's all I'm really doing with this move. And what I do here is some little bullshit thing where I sort of walk up her back, like I'm looking, well, I think there's a spot here, and I'll say that. You got a knot right here. You know, do you have a lot of stress? Yeah, sometimes I feel like I have a lot of stress. You know? Oh, that's cool. All right, get off me. And I'll say that. It's a release. It's disinterest. Get off me. Why am I doing that? To hurt her feelings? No. To create comfort and higher value. Okay? That's a tension test. Let me see this hand and this hand. Okay? Spin around halfway and stop. Notice again, there will be strong momentum for her to spin all the way around. If you let her lead, she'll spin all the way around, and you'll be back here again. And like you'll get sort of halfway into this movement, and you'll try to go and like grab her, and it'll be all weird. So you have to lead her with a strong, comfortable lead, where I take her hand, I've got both her hands, I spin up like this, and around, and put my hands over hers. Now at this point, I can just grab her like this or whatever. This is the TV test routine, right? It's just an excuse to get her comfortable with us touching this way so that I can then release and go back again and so on. When Mystery does this, he'll just turn her around with his hands. He'll say, okay, wait a second. Wait a second. What the fuck is that? Right? It's just a distraction. It's misdirection. What? 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 Huh? Okay, wait a second. All right, now pretend that we're watching our favorite TV show. Okay? Now here I'm in the same physical position. Pretend that we're watching our favorite TV show. What is it?
Sex in the City.
Of course it is. So we're watching Sex in the City, and you know we've been hanging out for like 6 months, and we've had all our fights and found all our boundaries, and we're watching Sex in the City, and show's over. High five. Down low. Too slow. All right, what I'm doing is, again, I'm creating comfort with us sitting like this, and I'll do a little role-playing stuff in her mind. Like, you know what? I can't wait till we go back to our villa in Paris. Okay, if she's attracted to me at all, what she is, and if she's having fun, and it's been fun so far, then she will comply by playing into the role-playing scenarios, you know? So if I say, you know, don't you wish sometimes that we're still back in Paris?
Yeah.
She plays into it, right? So that frame that we think of each other from that frame, that we're like a couple, gets strengthened. Even though it's only in fantasy, it's still a frame, and it's just been strengthened, you know? Or if I say, you know, someday we're just going to run away to our little island, just the two of us. We could have our own little island. Wouldn't that be cool? Mm-hmm. See, I'm creating conspiracy. Conspiracy is a shared frame. It's a feeling like, and an understanding as if the two of us are in on something together and everyone else is outside of it. Like we have our own little bubble. And inside that bubble, we feel happy, or not that we feel happy, but that we feel emotionally as if there's a frame that we're in on something together. And that sense of conspiracy strengthens a feeling of connection. So now what I'm doing is I'm bridging from Kino escalation and compliance momentum and microcalibration into comfort building and connection building, which is basically the next 7 hours of the game before you have sex with her, on average. Statistically speaking, if you count up all the numbers. Think about this for a second. Conspiracy. If I meet some girl in a bar, I'm some guy she met in a bar. I might be cool. I might be a cool guy that she met in a bar, but I'm still some guy she met in a bar. But if I bounce her next door for pizza, oh, you want to go get some pizza? Yeah. We'll be right back. I've got enough value, whatever. I pumped her body temperature up to where she's, okay, you know. I take her off for pizza. In the bar, I'm some guy she met in a bar. In the pizza parlor, we're two people who came together. Get it? Anyway. We're two people who came together. In the bar, I'm some guy she just met. In the pizza place, we're two people who came together, and everyone else in the pizza place is outside of that frame. See how we have a little bit of a conspiracy, a strengthened frame of conspiracy, which creates a feeling of connection? I'm going to list the elements of connection now. There are similarity, vulnerability, conspiracy, and understanding. And there are sub-elements to these, which you'll be taught today by Matador. Similarity, which, by the way, is a DHV. Similarity is a legitimate evolutionary attraction switch. Similarity. It's been documented in studies. It's part of evolutionary psychology. Similarity is a real attraction switch. So to whatever degree it comes off like you two have things in common, commonalities being an element of similarity, when it looks like you two have things in common, it will strengthen attraction. The reason is because women who are attracted to men who are similar to them passed on their genes better than women who weren't. They probably experienced fewer divorces, more successful child rearings, whatever, in the ancestral environment where your emotions evolved. Now, where was I?
Pizza.
Right. We showed up together. Because we showed up together, we have this conspiracy, this shared frame between the two of us, strengthening our feeling of connection. So as you can see, conspiracy is one of the elements of connection. Whenever you create a feeling of conspiracy, you feel more connected. So whenever we exchange a knowing look, knowing glance, where we both know what the other one's thinking, someone says something, and we both look at each other, and there's some inside joke that we both know about and no one else knows. The two of us are in on it together, and no one else knows. Strengthening that feeling of conspiracy, which creates more of a feeling of connection. Okay? Connection being one of the primary elements of mid-game. So notice how by going next door and walking into the place together, or if we were to walk into the grocery store together, there's these thoughts and frames that come up that are sort of naturally set, that you can even just think about them in fantasy, but you're still feeling them. They're still occupying your thoughts and influencing your behavior. So much in the same way, when I do some role-playing, and I say, okay, imagine, remember, this is a girl I just met in a bar. I'm not hooked up with this girl, say. And I say, okay, imagine that we're watching TV together, and your favorite show's on. What's her favorite show? Right? If she plays into it, if she bites, she just got absorbed into my frame. She just accepted the frame. I have set frame control on this interaction, right? I say, okay, we're watching our favorite show. What is it? She goes, Sex and the City. She played into it. She's playing along with me on our little conspiracy. Okay? She says Sex and the City, and now I start setting the frame more. And remember, I've already got more compliance momentum now. So she would look weird to break it off now. She's already been complying. She would look weird to say, wait a second, I don't like this little fantasy of yours. I don't like this little scheme you're doing. She's not going to do that. She's already committed. So here I am, and I say, all right, so we've been hanging out for like 6 months. That's ambiguous. I haven't made her feel like a slut. I didn't say, hey, I've been railing you for 6 months. Right? That's weird, of course. Okay? I haven't said, whoa, I've been your boyfriend buying you flowers for 6 months. Like I'm trying to set some little lovey-dovey delicate frame or whatever, which girls are disgusted with and sick of. Instead, I say, hey, we've been hanging out for like 6 months. So she can interpret that however she wants. I know how she's going to interpret it, but she still has plausible deniability, like I didn't just call her a slut. Right? He said, we're just hanging out. What? What? Plausible deniability. But she can still fantasize, yeah, we've been together for 6 months, and play into the fantasy and feel comfortable and have the plausible deniability to do that. I'm not putting her on the spot. So I say, all right, so we've been hanging out for like 6 months, and we've already had all our fights and found all our boundaries. See, I'm getting even a little bit more romantic. But again, I've already had that much more momentum in the compliance. She's already played along. She's already playing ball. Now I can push it a little bit. So I say we've already had all our fights and found all our boundaries, and like, that's funny. So she laughs, okay? Laughter is a sign of social submission. When a person laughs, it's the same as if they answered your question. When I say, hey, do you ever fuck goats? The guy goes, no. Boom, he just bit. He just took my frame, okay? Same if he laughs. Hey, do you ever fuck goats? Like he just played along with it. Oh yeah, that's funny, good one, right? It's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of social submission. He laughed, he bit, he accepted the frame, okay? So once I've got her in that position where I've said, all right, we're watching our favorite TV show, and we've been together, or we've been hanging out for like 6 months, right? She's playing along with it. She's already bitten the frame. And then I say, excuse me. I say, we've already had all our fights and found all our boundaries, right? She laughs. It's funny. It is funny. So she laughs. Had all our fights and found all our boundaries, right? But because she laughed, she accepted the frame. She bit. She's like, okay? So now the frame's been set. Oh, in a humorous way, fine. That gives plausible deniability. What? We were just playing. I was having fun at the bar. That was a cool guy. He was fun. I don't see what you're getting so insecure and jealous and snappy about all of a sudden. You're my friend from work. We've been hanging out for 2 years. Right? So now she's really playing into it, and she's able to relax and enjoy it. She's able to sort of lean back and sort of feel the snuggles for a little bit. And she feels comfortable with that because she knows I'm going to release, or at least she feels the emotional comfort that I'm not trying to get something because I've been releasing this whole time. I've been releasing all night, creating those comfort levels, allowing me to get to this point now, and she can relax and allow it because she feels safe. She knows if she resists that I'll push off. She feels safe and comfortable with that. She knows I'm not trying to get something. She knows I'm not going to have a big reaction either way. I'm not going to be like, fucking bitch, you fucking lesbian what? Right? I'm not reactive. I'm unaffected. I'm relaxed. I'm comfortable. That's the yin energy that I told you about yesterday. So in this moment, she's totally played along with it. She's relaxed. She's enjoyed the feeling of it. We built our little conspiracy and little connection together. And, all right, now get off of me. Seriously. Seriously. All right. What else? Is that it? Should we just cut it? Or, not yet, though. Let's make sure. What else could I throw in here? Any other moves? You guys remember the stripper name routine that you saw me demonstrate at the bar? So I'm getting this girl to play along with me. We're having fun. Blah, blah, blah. Fucking blah, fucking blah. And I've been fun. And I say, hey, do you know what your name would have been if you had been born as a boy? No. Okay, sometimes they say no, in which case I'll guess for them. I say, you know what, you look like a Michael to me. Okay? Notice I don't say, what's your name? Okay? Instead I'm like, you look like a Michael to me. I'm turning the question into a statement. Because questions sap energy and lower your value. Statements, creative statements, add energy and raise your value. They glow. Okay? So I take the question and make it a statement to add value to the interaction. You look like a Michael to me. She giggles. Guys don't normally talk to her this way unless they're not intimidated. But she can feel comfortable with me because I'm not trying to get something. Then I say, if I had been born as a girl, my name would be Rebecca. Okay? And I'm playing this out because really what's fun and funny here isn't these words, it's the delivery. It's the playfulness between the two of us. It's the pauses. You know what? You look like a Michael to me. I'll riff off that for a little bit. I would have been Rebecca. Then I hit the next piece of the routine. Well, what would your name be if you were a stripper? What would your stripper name be? A lot of times they have this thing all figured out. They got their middle name and the name of their first pet and the street they grew up on when they were a little girl and all this kind of stuff. And they mix all these names around and it comes up with their official stripper name. Or sometimes they'll have their drinking name. I knew this one girl, Bianca. She would do that. She'd say, I'm Bianca. That's my drinking name, Bianca. I'm like, cool. Bianca. Okay? A lot of times if the girls don't have a stripper name, which they always do, but Friday night this girl didn't have one, so I gave her Bianca. She's like, I don't know what my stripper name would be. And I was like, Bianca. See how that's fun? Bianca. Right? Value, not needy. Value, not needy. Magic combination, okay? Bianca. She's like, hee 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 hee. I say, you know what, if I was a stripper, now normally I say the word Rod. I say my name would be Rod. Okay? But Friday night, she comes out with my stripper name. She doesn't know her own. She goes, Pablo. I was like, I go, if I was a stripper, she goes, Pablo. I was like, okay. Watch this. Okay, what am I doing? Conspiracy. Kino escalation. Touching. Okay. Look away, touch. Look back. Okay. I'm going to walk by. Creating a role, a conspiracy for the two of us together. I'm going to walk by, ask my name. Okay? So watch it again. Okay. Right. Pablo. Right? Okay, all right. I'm going to walk by, ask my name. Then what I do is I walk by, I'll walk away and walk by. No. Hold on. Just what I'll do is I'll walk by. I don't walk up to her like, right? Instead, I walk by her as if I'm in my own world, having fun, doing my own thing. I'm like, and I overact what a sexy man I am. I do like the, like, I'm Pablo, motherfucker, And when I walk by, they always do this. They always play into the role and play along. Why? Because I got the compliance up front when I said, all right, okay. I'm going to walk by, okay? She goes, yeah, And I go, ask my name. She goes, okay. Right? Get it? She's playing along. I got the compliance. I know I'm going to get the compliance. So when I come back, she plays into it. See, I'm not trying to get her to do something. She's jumping to play the game. And they always jump out and put their hand on my chest and say, what's your name? Like that. Okay? Here's what it looks like.
What's your name?
My name is Pablo. Okay? Here's how you pull hair. I'll slide my hand up the back of her neck, grab the hair at the base of her head, the base. I don't yank it, I don't pull it, I just squeeze right here with my fist, squeeze my fist, and it feels good. It's like when you pick up a kitten by the back of the neck or something. It feels good, they like it. Okay? So she goes, what's your name? I slide my hand up the back of her neck, I get all dominant, but I over-accentuate it a bit so she can tell it's obviously bullshit, which makes it funny. Okay? Okay? Because it's obviously bullshit, it's funny, she plays along with it, she goes along with it. Okay, I squeeze, it feels good, I'm acting all dominant. It's not real, it's just fun and games, but she's still feeling it, she's still experiencing it. My name is Pablo. She giggles, hee, right? And then I have the buying temperature, I escalate. I will get a girl from like shoulder claps to hair pulls to neck bites to physical compliance all over her body in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, consistently in a bar. We out of tape? All right.
I did that like 2 or 3 times last night. Like you said, it instantly grabbed your chest.
Now let's go get that crazy magician.